city is taking centre stage in a new documentary.
Its intention is to kill sharks, to cull them.
The number of marine life that are dying, that's criminal.
A shocking new documentary is set to stir up debate about Queensland's shark control program.
It will cause controversy.
The shark control program.
Pressure is mounting on the state government.
100,000 signatures calling for the shark nets to be removed.
Envoy shark cull
features some of the biggest names in ocean conservation.
Envoy.
Envoy.
Andre Burrell, director and producer of Envoy Shark Cull, with another episode of the SharkNet podcast, where we're going to go deep on another topic this week. And this is a really important topic. It relates specifically to New South Wales, and it's super important because there's going to be some actions related to this topic specifically coming up in the next few months. So, I'm going to again try to stick to that 5, more like 10-minute time limit that I've sort of self-imposed to not make these too long and too waffly. So let's get straight into it. Actually, before I do that, I do want to acknowledge some cool things that happened in New South Wales last week. Number one is an event that was hosted in Parliament House by HSI and AMCS. It was really cool, played a short version of our film, had a lot of cool speakers there, had a lot of politicians there, and just building that support around getting rid of shark nets in New South Wales. So that was fantastic. Well done to Larry from HSI and the whole team, and Leo from AMCS and the whole team, and everyone else who was there. Second thing that was cool that was happened is Emma Hurst from AJP, Animal Justice Party, passed a motion in the upper house, essentially calling on the government to end the use of shark nets. So that was significant because A, it passed, and B, it actually passed with votes from the government as well. So that was fantastic. Awesome work, Emma. However, we had some confusion. Some people were contacting us being like, hey, does this mean, the campaign's won? No, that motion is not binding. That motion is not law. The government don't have to follow it. So campaign is not over. Important step. Well done. Thank you, Emma Hurst and team. But it is not binding. It is not law. We still got a bunch of work to do. So, right. New South Wales, deep dive. We're going to talk about a document called a JMA, a Joint Management Agreement. Now, background to this. It is illegal for the New South Wales government to kill protected and threatened species the same way it's illegal for you or I or a commercial fisherman or anyone like that to go and kill certain species like turtles, dolphins, sorts of animals like that. It's not legal for them to go and do it either. However, and these animals could be protected under either the Fisheries Act or under the Biodiversity Conservation Act in New South Wales. So we're all talking state legislation here. It's illegal for them, just like it's illegal for you and me. However, they can sort of grant themselves an exemption. They can essentially give themselves a license to kill. And the way that is done is by creating this document called a Joint Management Agreement. So basically the Environment Department, now called DCCEEW, you can Google that acronym yourself, we don't have time, and DPI, Department of Primary Industries, who basically put the shark nets in place and run the shark net program. They enter into this agreement called a Joint Management Agreement. That agreement the existence of that agreement, not hitting any KPIs in that agreement, not doing any sorts of, achieving anything, just the existence of that agreement, a valid joint management agreement, becomes a defence for prosecution for breaching the Biodiversity Conservation Act or the Fisheries Act. So it basically gives them a license to kill, gives them carte blanche to go and kill as many protected and threatened species as they want, basically, as long as there is a valid joint management agreement in place. Bit of a joke, pretty massive loophole. It's the only joint management agreement in the entire state, in the existence in the entire state. Only one exists, and it's to sanction shark nets to go in the water with a legal defence for all the things that they'll invariably kill that they're not supposed to kill, which is, 90% bycatch, and a good chunk of that being threatened and protected species. Now, I want to go deep on this, deeper than that. That's the sort of base level, the context, the understanding you need to be aware of. I want to point out a few key things. There's certain things that have to happen as per that joint management agreement. So the Fisheries Scientific Committee, the FSC, are supposed to review all the annual catch and kill tallies and basically write a report. That report has to be published. That report has to go to the minister. That's on the DPI side of the agreement. DPI including fisheries. On the Enviro side, remember it's an agreement between DPI and Enviro. On the Enviro side, the Threatened Species Scientific Committee, the TSSC, are supposed to review the catch and kill stats every year, write a report. That's supposed to go to the minister and be published publicly. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail yet because we are in dialogue with the government behind closed doors on this, but what I can tell you is those steps haven't always been followed every year. I don't want to go, in fact, many years. I don't want to go into too much more detail than that because there could be something big coming here. But I want you to pay close attention to this topic, what I'm about to tell you and what I've just told you, because something really big could be coming in response to those things having not necessarily been followed. That's all the level of detail I'm going to go into that. But the next thing, and probably the final thing that I want to be really, really, really clear on in here, is in the Joint Management Agreement, there's Clause 11. Clause 11 called Termination of Agreement. Now, this clause basically gives a heap of power, a trump card, an ace, if you like, an ace up the sleeve, to DCC-EEW, which is Department of Environment. The minister for that is Penny Sharp. It basically says that Enviro can terminate this agreement with 14 days notice. I'm summarising here. With 14 days notice. And yeah, basically this agreement would be null and void. It's our position that should happen. The JMA hasn't met its objectives for the last decade. As well as not meeting its objectives for the last decade, there's the other issue I just told you about, that certain things that are supposed to happen every year according to this agreement haven't been happening. So to us, it's clear cut. It's a slam dunk. The agreement hasn't achieved anything. It hasn't even been followed half of the time, or more than half of the time. It should be terminated. DCC-EEW should exercise this power. Penny Sharp should exercise this power and terminate the agreement. Now, what would that mean? Technically, it doesn't mean shark nets couldn't be placed in the water, but in practice it does. This document, the existence of this document, is the only legal defence that DPI have for going and slaughtering a bunch of wildlife that is otherwise protected. So, whilst terminating this agreement from the Enviro side, whilst terminating the agreement wouldn't essentially, it wouldn't make it illegal to go and put shark nets in the water. What it would do is remove the legal defence that they currently have for going and killing a bunch of animals that they're ordinarily not allowed to kill. So that's sort of basically all the key parts that you need to know to understand this topic, and it's really important that you do because there's going to be some big actions coming around this. That's sort of what you need to understand, and all we can share for now because of some things that are going on behind closed doors. So, stay tuned. That is all I can share for now, but this could kick off. This could really pop off massively, especially leading up to September 1, which, if the government choose to put shark nets back in the water for yet another meshing season, that's when they will go back in the water. So, got a couple of months here, a few months, for all this to be resolved. Obviously, ideally, we would just love Penny Sharp and Department of Environment to go, you know what, this agreement hasn't met its objectives for the last decade. You know, there's been some issues with following it. We're just going to terminate it. That would be fantastic. That would be the absolute ultimate outcome. We fear that might not happen. This is a topic that Department of Environment and seemingly environment ministers like Penny Sharp and her predecessors desperately want to stay away from. They want to keep it an agriculture minister and a fisheries problem, not an environment problem. So we doubt that termination will happen, unless their hand is really forced. But we really, really, really would love them to play that trump card, to play that ace, which is to terminate the JMA and put DPI in a position where they either stop putting shark nets in the water or have to run a shark net program without killing a single threatened or endangered species. Doubtful that would happen, so stay tuned, and in good time, what is going on behind closed doors will be shared, and you will be asked to take part. So Thanks very much. I hope that was insightful. I hope I didn't gloss over too much stuff. You can find the Joint Management Agreement on the New South Wales website. I'll link it in the comments. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Take care, and we'll be back next week.
My first time swimming with a tiger shark was on the Gold Coast, and she was literally taking her last breaths in front of us.
For 83 years and counting, we've been running the world's longest marine cull.
It is just off our coastline, but it's so hidden from the public.
You're afraid naturally of something that you don't know. They're actually the real victims and the ones that have something to fear.
Its intention is to kill sharks, to cull them.
It is absolutely archaic that we're relying on a program that was devised in 1930.
I hope to think every Australian can think like this.
It's not a solution by any means. They're just killing sharks.
People are unaware that this device is a fishing device.
We're killing in the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park.
I think once people realise what's happening, how senseless the killing actually is, I think they should be outraged about what is happening to Australia's beautiful natural resources.
We're the government and we are keeping you safe from this big scary thing.
They have no education in, no background in, and don't know what they're doing.
It is in effect a gag order, and it's near impossible to get any footage underwater.
Observations and concerns about the safety of the operation and
I want that
potential
camera.
jeopardy that you...
What if our ignorance is about to wipe them out?
There's a good chance this documentary may actually start its own feeding frenzy.